Welcome everybody. We're in the dark here. It's 10:50 p.m. on a Thursday night. I got Gibster actually sleeping right next to me for right now. I have the night shift while Mama Gibbs is sleeping. But we're gonna talk about, um, excuse me, roster moves in general for rival series teams that get promoted to the RLCS versus how can you protect yourself being a player. And this all comes down to, because as of Thursday night, I guess this was at 8:37 p.m., RBG has let go of Aeon after they qualified for the RLCS. So we'll go over what they say, and then we'll go over my opinions. And, of course, you guys in the comments below, feel free to respond how you feel you need to respond. But let's get into it.
Miswan Jr. here.
Miswan.
It is after much deliberation that we have decided to release
Hopefully this is loud
the
enough.
Rocket League team. I know what you're thinking. We just finished qualifying for the RLCS with Aeon, and while that's true, the RLCS is a completely different animal than the rival series. It's our job here at RBG to put forth the best competitive roster we can, and while Aeon is a mechanical monster, Rocket League at the end of the day is a team game. The decision to release him is incredibly intricate, and we took input from the entire team. So be on the lookout for more information as it's available. Hello, everyone.
So, Aeon's off the team. He's a mechanical monster, not working well as a team. We've seen tweets earlier where you can never tell what's going on behind the scenes for rosters. Most times, roster moves happen because of personality issues. I think Rizzo was tweeting that out the other day. So when people speculate, obviously we only see like 10% or not even 10% of what these teams do in the day-to-day basis. So in my personal opinion, like everyone is attacking RBG pretty hard here for the kicking of Aeon. And I personally don't mind it too much. We'll go into how people are really getting into it. Like we see Chicago here. It's a yikes. E United GM goes hard on RBG. And, you know, a bunch more random stuff. A lot of pros filling in. You get the point. You get the point. Now, the one thing that I understand, like, it's one of these things where do you make a rule for your heart or a rule for your mind? Like a lot of people are calling for, I think Corrupted G was one of them out there saying that if you're a recently promoted team, you should have to be locked in as a roster unless you get poached, like a player like decides to leave. And honestly, I don't really like that rule necessarily. Like that is speaking to my heart. Like I want all of these players obviously to be in the RLCS when they qualify for the RLCS, but how is that fair? For all right, let's do it this way: a team like Complexity versus Team Singularity. If Complexity would have won that series, people would be calling for Greasy's head or whatever. They have to make a roster move to compete in the RLCS. But because Team Singularity made it, now they can't make a roster move. Like, they're supposed to be on par with the teams near the bottom. Well, one way to improve drastically is to make roster moves. So you don't get stuck hanging out in the bottom. Now, again, like I personally would love to see every single player that qualifies for the RLCS be in the RLCS. But if I was a team owner and I'm like, hey, guys, we could pick up someone better, or we made it, but we didn't make it, like we got pretty lucky, and we don't think this will work again in the RLCS. We need to make a roster move. And I don't mind that, honestly. Like I know a lot of people are on the other side of the things, but how would that be fair if teams that got promoted can't make roster moves while all their peers are getting better if they're making roster moves that make them better? So I don't really like that idea. I think another thing with RBG is that they kicked Aeon so quickly after qualifying for the RLCS just 2 weeks ago. Excuse me for my cough. Sorry, I'm a little sick. And I get it, but at the same time, if they knew these issues were there and this was bound to happen, then you got to do what you got to do, right? But the one thing that I think is extremely important for every single player, and this includes players on like Energy and teams that are like guaranteed or feels like they're guaranteed to be in the RLCS season in and season out. Protect yourself with contracts with your teammates. Like, it doesn't even have to be necessarily with the org. You just really need to protect yourself for saying, like, hey, like, if I guarantee you guys league play for the following season, I want at least half of my share of what that would be. Like Aeon, for example, like I tweeted out that he's missing out on about like $7,000 for not playing in league play next season. Now, who knows if he goes into RLCS or excuse me, or if he plays in the rival series. Like, there's prize money to be had there, but right now, teams are guaranteed, at least for this last season, roughly $21,000 for just competing in league play. That is $7,000 per player. That's something that Aeon just got for this team. He did his part. He did his 1/3 share, and now he gets none of it. That, I think, is a travesty. And I feel like these players need to start protecting themselves to at least get half. Like, if I get you to league play for the next season, I want 3,500 or whatever the league play is. Like, say it goes up or goes down, because it might go down because there's 10 teams. Who knows? But say it goes up to 30K. He should get 5K. He should get at least half of that. Then whoever they bring in, they get the other 5K, and any additional prize money that they win, then that player gets his fair share. The new rookie and the old player doesn't get any of that because he didn't participate in that. It's very similar to what happened with Chrome on Revival that I called for, what was that, season 3, I think, or something like that, where they made playoffs. They were guaranteed $1,000 in playoffs. And Chrome got subbed out, and the sub got the $1,000, or at least the $333, or whatever it was, for that. Which was completely unfair, because Chrome did the work to get them to a top 6 seed. Now, if you want to sub them out and you want to give the difference in prize money, perfectly reasonable. Say Revival went on to win that and they won 20K, say, which I don't think it was that much, but say it was 20K. You take that 19K, you split it up 3 ways or whatever, and you give it to the sub. That's fine, but the 1K, you split that with Chrome. Chrome gets his $333, yada, yada. What happened with Revival is their sub came in, they came in 6th. They didn't get any additional prize money, and Chrome didn't get any of it. So that, just completely unfair. Like, things like that, I feel like players need to find ways to protect themselves from. And you could say maybe it's on the Psionic side, maybe it's on the org side, but honestly, players can do it themselves. It's really not that hard. But it's something that I think every single player should consider. Like, say for this season, for example, Fireburner. He should have got $3,500 from NRG or from that roster, from Turbo Pulso, whatever you want to call it, because he qualified them for league play for this season. Turbo would have got the other $3,500. He should have got the $3,500 from the Dignitas roster because he qualified them for league play over there. And Astral, instead of making the $7,000 from league play, he would have made $3,500. And I just feel like that's honestly how it should be to protect players that do the work to get them into certain things. And we're just going to look at Mishan's face this entire time, so I apologize. To Mishan, who's probably like, I don't want to see myself just talking on Gibbs's video the entire time. But I really don't want to scroll down the comments either, so I don't know where to go from here. Let's just go to the home and see what people are saying. We're going to see some random people. Let's go over to Rizzo, because we're going to talk about that one tweet he had earlier. Yeah, he's going to talk a lot about blueprints. Yeah, like people shouting out roster changes on any roster always triggers me. Sure, after a while, lackluster results should be considered. But man, do these people think that teams ever think they can fix a result without blowing up entire fucking roster? Use your brain, man. So it's very possible. Like, I think there's 2 ways to go about it, obviously. Like, you could switch up your roster and it could help a lot, or you could grow as a roster. Whatever. It's almost never about a single bad season for these moves. Some are poor performance, sure. Personality conflicts, most often. Like, I think that's always the big thing. We never know what's going on behind the scenes. Motivation problems, or the team as a whole doesn't think it could work. It's team game. Stop singling out individuals, you rats. Like, Rizzo's not happy with Reddit, stuff like that, when they call for roster moves. But hey, it's part of being a pro. But again, like, these moves for RBG are, again, for any team in the RLCS. Like, I don't mind roster moves. Like, you're going to make them. I won't always agree with the roster move. Like, I'll think it's a bad one. But again, we only see 10% at most in front of the cameras while they're playing all the time. Besides that, it's probably like really we see 1% in front of the cameras. We see none of their scrims. We see none of their comms. So like we really don't see much. So again, like when pros make roster moves, I always like look at it as like I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but like if I think it's wrong, like I'll say it on a death segment or a YouTube thing, because why not? Because like I can have my opinion on it, just like everyone else can. But like I don't think it's fair to limit promoted teams from making roster moves, because I think that kind of hinders them at times. Now again, you could say the argument is, well, if you are the same roster, you'll get better. It's like that's not necessarily always true. But again, just protect yourself, players. Made a video about this a couple years back. Protect yourself for the guaranteed money that you should be getting. You should make sure that you get it. At least half of it. Because I do get that, like, you don't want to bring in a rookie into RLCS Season 9 and be like, well, you're not going to get any league play money. And I get that to an extent. So that's why I'm like, just do half and half. At the very least. Like, I could see trying to fight for more, but it just seems kind of unfair to players in general. And again, like, Aeon, I hope he makes it onto an RLCS team, because I would love to see him in the RLCS. He qualified. He deserves to be there. But again, I don't really blame RBG all that much, because if they think it's the right move, how can I fault them, right? At some point. But that's all I got to say about that. Yeah, that'll do it for this video. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there. We'll let you guys have your thoughts down below. I know a lot of people are saying it's probably Lethamyr, then Lethamyr saying it's not going to be him. Like, I don't think it really matters who it is. Once again, for the roster move, it does seem like it's a very hasty decision. But again, if it's a lingering problem, then I could kind of understand the hasty decision more when it's like, oh, it's been a lingering problem. You know, like it seems like it's personality conflict, right? Just because of how quickly this was done. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, me just talking. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.